I was telling him, we shoot every month.
Sure.
So it's hard to unwire all that hardwired in over,
I
12 years.
So you have to become the firearms instructor. Start from zero.
Yeah.
That's really what that must have happened.
Practice at home.
All right, let's get back in our lines, please. Okay. Weapons out, neutral ready. Command of up, you explode into action. Nice and quick. Phase 1 into 2, engaging effectively. Strong core, strong body, strong hands on the weapon, engaging non-stop. Back, visual check, physical check. Scan the threat, regulate stress. Proper environmental threat scan, making sure that we're reevaluating the primary threat in between when we go left and right. Hard, fast, aggressive. If this threat is going to be very fast. Everybody here saw the footage, the clips from Dallas. You guys saw how that guy went hunting, ran after the officers hiding behind cover. Everybody saw the clips, right? That's what you're going to get. He's going to be fast. He's going to be aggressive. He will know your tactics. He will know your strategy. He will know what you're going to do. When they attack, they make sure they know all that. He's going to be violent. You got to be fast. You got to be aggressive. You have to be more violent. Eyes up. Your mind's already in the fight. Up! And back. Weapon, primary threat, environment, and back. Up! Engage, 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 engage. Strong core, strong core. Fist, fist. Get us up, get us up. There we go. Okay. And back. Nice and quick, nice and quick. What speed do we push into the engagement with? So when we punch out, when we're reacting, how fast? As fast as we can. When we are retracting, how fast? As fast as we can. Is the fight over? You don't know. Okay? So it's not all of this aggression and structure and fortitude and speed and then all of a sudden the pace changes. Everything is just as fast. Everything is just as fast. We don't know if he's still down, if there is another threat. Okay? We're always in that same mode. When we are going to now transition this into active shooter tomorrow, we don't know how many threats are going to be in the environment. Nobody does until the situation is over, generally. Today, we're in a dynamic where the probability for a multiple threat environment here in North America is much higher. And you got to remember, we have no time to waste here, even in this engagement. Because while we are occupied with this engagement, if there is another threat, he's walking around killing people. Fast, aggressive, every step of the way. Okay, one more time. Eyes forward. Okay, holster up for a sec. So, let's have just this line just turn in and face center here. J Legend, I need this straight in here. What is our tactical objective in a gunfight? No, it's not stop the threat. That's the overall objective. That's what we need to do. Trying to shut the threat off, right? That's the macro objective. We have a micro objective. I thought I heard it. Did you say something? Okay, that's again part of the macro. Sorry?
Get there quick.
Meaning, yeah, where?
Get to the target.
Threat. Close the distance. Close the distance as fast as we can. We may be fortunate enough, okay, if we take this really bad predicament and we put ourselves in the absolute luckiest point or aspect of this environment, we have the threat, we have other officers engaging, and we're here on the periphery. That's the most optimal. That's the luckiest, the best predicament we can be in. You guys remember in Texas, how long ago was there? I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more. There was a shooting that occurred in the street. There were officers engaging a threat. 103 yards away, there was an officer mounted on a horse. He got off his horse, held on the horse, drew his handgun, from 103 yards, fired, hit the threat. You guys remember that incident? Okay, remember it? All right. Freaking incredible. Absolutely incredible. He was holding a horse while doing a one-handed shot, takes the threat out at 103 yards out. Why was he able to do that? A, he mastered the 7 principles of shooting. He's a professional with that weapon. That's a professional. He's mastered them. Why was he able to implement them? The rounds were not directed. And there's been a handful of situations like that, of incredible shots at quite the distances. But he was in the best predicament possible. That threat was engaging other officers. They were a hell of a lot closer. They didn't make any hits. We understand here how drastically the platform changes when the rounds are directed at us or if the rounds are somewhere else in the environment. Okay? Huge difference. So that's the best disposition. The worst case, obviously, is when we've got the threat standing there engaging us. The quicker that we can close this distance, the more optimal we become. Okay? We have to cause the threat to give us the opportunity. He raises his weapon, starts to shoot, we don't start running at him. We understand that, first of all, right? It's not what we're saying here. That's suicidal. Okay? We have to create the opportunities. The opportunities happen every time that he does not shoot. And he has changed his dynamic to the point that he needs more time now to be able to re-engage us. So we create that by putting all that pressure as fast as we can, as accurately as we can. Every opportunity that we can create or that he gives us, he goes down, he suddenly runs past a corner, gets hit and suddenly changes his position. If we can close that distance, then we close the distance. We do that so that now we are in the best possible predicament in the worst case where we're this close to him. Because here I will dominate him. And we do that as fast as we can as well because we're talking about active shooter again, we might have other threats. So I have to close the distance as fast as I can. I create the opportunity, or the opportunity is created for me. I have to identify. The opportunity is created, I close the distance. How do I close the distance? Point A, point B. How do I get from point A to point B? As fast as I can.
Run.
I run as fast as I possibly can. No secret to it. I run. It's a sprint. We never do things 50% or even 99%. Everything we do 100%. If it is time to run, to move, then you're moving with purpose as fast as you can. If it's time to shoot, you're not doing anything else. You stop, you stabilize, you shoot. So I'm running. I know what my legs are going to do. Left in front of right, alternate, repeat the process as quickly as I can. What does my weapon do? How do I run with a weapon in my hand? My hands connected? No. If I ask you guys to run for me 100 yards as fast as you possibly can, and I'm going to give you guys 2 predicaments, you get to choose which one you want. Predicament number 1 is I put handcuffs on you in front here. And you run as fast as you can. Or predicament number 2, your hands are free. Which would you choose? 2, right? Free. Does it make a difference? It completely makes a difference. Our hands do things when we run, and they're designed to do things to help us with that action. They help counterbalance everything every step of the way. We need that freedom of motion. If our hands are suddenly tied in front of us, can we run as fast? We slow ourselves down. This motion is going to slow us down, and we intuitively slow ourselves down as well, because if we can't properly counterbalance, what might happen to us? We might trip and fall. It's not natural, it's not comfortable. So when it is time to engage, I stop and I engage. Threat goes down. As I'm starting to take off already, what am I doing with my weapon?
Checking it.
Every time we stop to shoot, we check our weapon, make sure it's ready to save our lives. Okay, so as I move, I'm just doing a quick little glance. My weapon, okay, so remember this position here, our neutral ready? This is our running position. This is where our hand comes to. So I'm engaging, check, and I go. Engage, it's down, and check, and I go. My weapons, or sorry, my hands stay separate so I can run effectively. And the worst case scenario, if something happens, I know I've got a hand dedicated to stopping me, blocking the fall. If I got 2 hands on my gun and I suddenly trip and fall, what can happen? The gun will drive into the ground, your face will drive into the gun. Weapon is obviously always oriented towards the threat. We don't run like this. We don't run like this. We don't run like this. We run like this. Everything here moves, but this stays stable. Why? Because if he suddenly pops up, or another threat pops up, I have to be able to right away orient myself and engage as effectively as I can. Now, let's see if this will work. Who here is a fast runner? Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. And sorry, your name was?
Andy.
Andy. All right, brother. Stand right over here for me. This will be the starting point. So, weapon out. When I say up, you're going to engage. Okay? You're going to engage that target there. You're going to engage that target there. When I say down, that means that he's down, so you're doing what? Okay? Now, don't cheat. I want you to be 100% what you're doing, which means I don't want you, while you're running, you're not thinking about shooting, don't think about anything else. I need you to get from there to that target. How long do you think it'll take you to get from there to that target with a full sprint?
10 seconds.
How long? You say 10? 6?
3.
You got 4 seconds. If you don't make it in 4, I get to kick you in the nuts. If, and it's a big if, so once I say it, let it out of your mind and only react to it if it happens. If, while you're running, I yell up, what do? You stop immediately and you engage. Up means that he's already firing at you. Okay? All right, Andy. Ready? So on the command of up, engage, down, you run. Engage, 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 engage. Down! Up! Okay, stop. Please where you are, please where you are, please where you are. pops up, I have to stop as quickly as I can. I have to be able to engage as quickly as I can. If my body is in motion and that motion affects all my body, it's going to take a lot longer for me to be able to stop, stabilize, and engage. If I try to suddenly come to a stop while all of that inertia is going on, what's going to happen to me? I'm going to probably fall forward. There's a way that we run, there's a way that we stop. As I'm sprinting, I suddenly have to stop. I begin to control my stop with my legs. There's all kinds of terminologies that people use, stutter step or piston stop. All that happens is as I'm running, I start to walk myself out really, really rapidly into my stance. What this is going to do is going to allow me to filter out that inertia a lot smoother. And my upper body will be less hindered and more stable in a reduced period of time. And will allow me to get my weapon up a lot quicker, allow me to stop with a much reduced risk of losing balance as well. So as I'm running, I got to suddenly stop. I'll quickly piston out and stop. And the goal is not to sit here and take a ride for a long period of time. It's to get to this platform as fast as I can. So I'm running, and as fast as I can, I walk out in my stance, stabilize, and engage. I'm going to try that now. Exact same thing. Up, you engage. Down, you run. You run 100%. I may tell you, I may say up again, I may not. Okay. To test you, because I don't want you running 99%. I need you running 100%. Up! Down! Up! Okay. I'm back. I did it right in the exact same place. But, the very first time, it's how you stopped as well. You see a lot of times when people have a different way of stopping, they try to suddenly come to a stop, they end up way past the target. All right, so very good. Okay, everybody understand that so far? Anytime we move, and it can happen, you're in a crowded environment, in a shopping mall, school, and you are there at the beginning of the engagement or very early on in when the hunting phase is still going on, the bad guy's still hunting and executing, people will be running everywhere. People might bump into you. From behind, from front, from side. Something hits me, I stabilize as fast as I can, and I continue to stay in the fight. We're talking, obviously, while we're in an engagement. The world doesn't go on pause. Like I said, we might be in the middle of actually exchanging rounds, and somebody crashes into us. We have to remain effective. So we understand how we run. We understand how we stop. In between that, let me pause, let me word it this way. I've engaged, threat goes down. What do we say that we do once we stop shooting? What's next? Okay, so the scan process, right? Proper scan is weapon, threat, environment. It's an active shooter predicament. And he goes down, I still hear gunshots going off. Am I going to stand here and do this? No. What do I have to do? I need to close that distance as fast as I can. That's priority. But do I still need to scan? Do I need to scan?
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. So, weapon, threat, environment, I scan as I'm running. So I've engaged, he goes down. Close the distance. Okay? Any questions? Okay, line. Quick, quick, quick. So from here, we have the command of up. Up means we explode in action right away. Back means we check the weapon, check the threat, check the environment, and reset. We're now going to add the command of down. Down means that your threat has gone down, so you do what? Close the yourself to the threat as fast as possible. Ready. Up. Down. Up. And back. Ready. Up. Stabilize. Right now you're shooting. You're not thinking of movement. You're shooting. You're shooting. Down. Up. Down. Up. And back. Weapon. Threat. Environment. Okay. Add to it. Multiple threats. Multiple threats come in two dynamics. They come in a dynamic where they're relatively close together, which means that my transition is just the weapon, or they come in a dynamic where they are at wide angles apart, in which case the transition is my weapon with my body. So first one we're going to look at is when they are in close proximity, so my transition from threat to threat is just the weapon. So if I have two threats that pop up, okay? Mike and Andy. First of all, who am I going to engage first? Okay. I'm going to put a pause in that question because I'm going to reintroduce it when we get on to the actual live fire drill portion. Right now, you engage whichever one draws your attention. I now have to transition from one to the other. How do I do that? There's a couple different ways out there. All right, what have you guys seen? Close transitions. How do I transition? What have you guys
Move your
seen?
body?
No body right now. There's no body. I've got, these are my two threats right here. I would not waste time and effort with body. It's just weapon. So, a couple options that we have that exist out there. Number one is this, U, okay? The purpose behind the U is because there tends to be, if I'm moving really quick, Mike suddenly pops up and shoots me, how quick am I gonna transition? Really quick. And what's gonna end up happening potentially is that I overpass him. There's a reason why that happens, I'll talk about in a sec. Oh, I should talk about it now. The reason why that happens is because I'm shooting my weapon with my eyes at the same time. By the time that my eyes lock onto him and tell my mind to stop, remember, perceive, analyze, formulate, then you perform the action. By the time I have perceived, analyzed, formulated my necessity to stop, and that message gets out to the nerves, the action still continues. The U, the thinking behind the U, gives me time to transition my eyes to the threat. And as I come up, I obviously have a lot more target lengthwise on a human than I do widthwise. So it's very hard to overshoot past the head. A lot easier to overshoot this way. So thinking again is more time to acquire visually and then to track upwards. One option, very sound option. Another option is a retraction and a point. Retraction and a point. This comes from shorter distance to move with the body. Center line is lined up, and then I track the weapon from the center line. The reality of what actually happens, you're engaging one threat, another one pops up, and you suddenly make the decision to get the transition. What is the reality of how you're going to do it? What's the quickest way? It's this. It's this. That's the quickest way in which you're going to transition under stress. What we want to do is try to get the eyes to the target before the weapon. That is how we create the marker for the weapon to stop in time. So this is close transitions here. Okay? We got it? The way in which we're going to incorporate it now to our platform, it's going to be the command of either plus or minus. Plus is always to your right. Left-handed or right-handed. Plus is always to your right. You're always transitioning one target over to the right. Minus is always one target to the left. Okay? I yell, plus, it's here. Plus, it's here. Minus, 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 plus, plus. We got it? Any questions? Okay? Good. Weapons up. Neutral ready. So remember, we have up. You float into your platform, you engage. Plus, one to the right, minus, one to the left. Down, the thread is down. You close the distance as fast as you can. Ready? Up! Plus. Remember, eyes and then weapon. And you're not squeezing the trigger while you're transitioning. You only squeeze while once your weapon is on target. Minus. Fast, fast. When we're calling plus or minus, your first thread is still shooting at you, and the second one pops off and is shooting at you as well, so you gotta move fast. Minus. Plus. Plus. Minus. Down. Okay, stop where you are for a second. So, down, you run. You give the command of up, then obviously you control and you re-engage your target. You give the command of down, and you get all the way to your target, and there's no commands. You make contact with your target, okay? Don't knock the backings off here. Just touch down at the base here, and just touch. Don't destroy the targets right now because we need them. So, how many targets did you guys engage? 3. All right. Just without that question for a second. Go back to your lines. That's your way. Weapon up. Ready. Up. Minus. Plus. Minus. Minus. Down. Freeze where you are. So you ran up to your target right now, the threat, and what are you doing there? What? Okay, so he's down. Now what? How many threats did you guys engage? 3. How many did you check? Check the other 2. Quick! All right, back. Right. Okay. We have up, we have plus, we have minus, we have down. Let's now talk about threats and wide angles. So, an example, I've got one threat, I got one that pops off to my left, or to my right. That is a wide angle, it requires a wide transition. How do I transition? I'm standing here engaged. This thread here, right to my left, that pops up. How do I transition? Okay, so head first, and then what? And then body. Okay. So do I do it this way? Look at my body for a sec. I'm gonna do it twice. Here's number 1. Here's number 2. 1 or 2? Put your hands up for 2. 2 is correct. And why is that? Always go forward. We always go forward. You never go backwards. See our feet? We've got toes in the front. We've got heels in the rear. The heel never leads our action. We always go forward. We always step number 1 into the known. Number 2, if we do trip on something, are we going to be more effective at recovering and stopping ourselves falling forward or falling backwards? Falling forward. Okay? So we always go forward. We always go forward. We never go backwards. Okay? Now, talk about eyes, weapon, and target. So, Andy, my name is Mir. I'm gonna walk, all right? I'm just gonna walk. When I get to right about here, about perpendicular to you, I want you to yell out my name, okay? So we're walking down the street, and somebody calls our name. Do we do this? Here. Everybody saw that? Or do we do this? Okay, it's number 2. Do we do it this way? There. 1 or 2? What was the difference? We look first. Our radar first orients itself to the stimulus. We analyze it, right? Same thing here. We never do this. We never do this. Okay? We look first. We look for 2 important reasons. Number 1 is that I have to make sure I'm not wasting time in that turn. I'm engaging this threat, and somehow, okay, we have to understand something here. If I'm in the middle of a gunfight, am I going to be cognitively tuned into anything else in my environment? No. No. You're focused on what? All of you, all your senses, everything is focused on an exchange right now. You're not going to see and hear other things. That said, if I am in the middle of an engagement in front of me and something draws my attention in a different area, that means that something is pretty significant. Pretty significant as far as how my mind reads it. For me to disconnect from an engagement to now focus on something else, it's got to be a lot more significant than a gunfight or an element in the gunfight. You understand that? Maybe I suddenly have somebody that pops up in close proximity, much closer to me than him, and starts to fire. That would probably be enough to catch my attention. Now what I don't want is that I'm here, I'm engaging, gunfire happens beside me, I do this, and I realize, oh, it's another police officer who's joining the fight. I've just wasted time, right? So number 1 is what? Send your radar out to see what's going on first. Look, and then determine if you have to pause here and refocus here. Okay? That's number 1. My weapon is out here now because I'm engaging. If my head is leaving that area, somewhere else my weapon is where? Not into here, especially not in the middle of a gunfight when it's hot. I want to keep my weapon on a springboard here that's a lot closer to the action. Okay, comes just to here, just this halfway point. I just lower it so that my eyes can see over top of everything. Okay, so I'm in from here, I'm engaging, something catches my attention to my right, I look. I decide that that is a threat standing there, engaging me closer, more problematic. I now orient myself to engage. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Clear? Okay. So it's eyes. As the eyes turn, weapon comes in. Body, weapon. So we have up, we have minus, we have plus. We now are going to have either left or right. So plus or minus is only one target over. Left or right is 90 degrees. Okay? And the target's all around us. So if I call left, you acquire your target to your 90, orient, re-engage. Right? Same thing. Target to your 90 and engage. I'm in a perfect, stable, effective point shooting platform. When I depart from this platform and reorient myself somewhere else, I come back to this optimal platform. And then we have down, of course. Clear? All right, weapons out. Eyes on your threat. Whoa! Engage, 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 engage. Down. Up. Plus. Minus. Right.
Head body weapon.
Left.
Head body weapon.
Head first, everything else after. Down. Okay, stop. Slide. it. We're getting the hang of it. You're responsible for every threat that you engage. Okay? Even if there are 20 other police officers in the environment engaging, you saw a threat, you engaged it, you're responsible for it. If 5 of you happen to get to that threat, wonderful. But you don't leave anything to chance. We already understand everything that can go wrong and does go wrong in a real life, chaotic, uncontrolled, stressful environment. Things will be missed. We can't take a chance for engage a threat, he went down, I go somewhere else now because I assume somebody else is going to go and take care of him. Because if I'm wrong, he can get up and take all this stuff from behind. Okay? Move quick. You have an objective, fulfill it as fast as you can. Move to everything nice and quick and assess. Now, some of you are here. Good. Watch. Here. Engage. Come here. Touch the target. That's fine. And then I see some people doing this. What is this? It's a metal piece of plywood. Anybody here actually engage that instead of a target? Okay. We don't do things arbitrarily. Everything you do here has a purpose, even though it's training. The only things you're engaging are the guys with guns, and that's who you're validating. Okay? Next. Places? Up! Left! Left!
Get around. Head, body, weapon.
Right! Forward, forward, forward. Remember, always forward. Eyes first, weapon, body after. Right! Down!
Go, go, go. That's it.
Good.
Think about the threat.
Weapon is up when you run. Weapon is up when you run. Remember, 90 degrees. All right, good. Holster up, back to your lines. You're engaging. You have to know who you're engaging, why you're engaging, what they're doing. They disappear, you gotta know why. Multiple threats pop up, you gotta know who they are, you gotta remember. You can't leave one somewhere in the crowd, because we forgot about him and we went to check everybody else. He might be the one that's still breathing and functional. It's complicated, especially when we're talking now us being attacked with all of these stress-induced elements and factors that discombobulate us and hinder us. This is a very difficult line of work. But we have to be effective. There's no choice. We're professionals, and that's the way that we have to be. When you run fast, 100%. Weapon is here, not here. It's here. If you're starting to run through crowds, your weapon comes back to here, but it's still here. It's not here. We're not on the range. No such thing as firearm safety in real life. Firearm safety is you here making the decision of when to shoot, when not to shoot. Okay? All right. So, Andy, weapon out. Up! He's engaging. Engaging. Good. Somebody gets bumped from behind. Relax. Good. Okay. What happened from the first time I pushed you until about the third time here?
I got better at stopping. I got more stable.
Very good. In a much quicker period of time. We might get hindered, and the bad guy may still be in optimal fighting position. He's still effectively engaging. We have to get back to being effective as fast as possible. The most effective platform that exists when it comes to a gunfight is standing here. Strong, stable, engaging. We have to get back to that as fast as we possibly can. Okay? pull you. People might try to tackle you thinking you're the bad guy, even though you're wearing a police uniform. Have there been bad guys dressed up as police officers and soldiers who pulled out guns at crowds and started attacking? Oh yeah, absolutely. We've had a handful of instances like that in Israel. Terrorists dressing up as IDF soldiers. They acquired the uniforms. In some cases, they were identified right away because of little things such as wearing the wrong colored boots with the wrong colored beret. And people right away understood, and they grabbed this person before he was able to deploy his weapons. In other cases, they were effective. Dressed properly like soldiers, got into a crowd, pulled their guns out, and started to engage. So people will be confused. People are going to hinder you. Somebody grabs you when you're in the middle of engaging. What do you do to that person? You knock them the fuck out. You get rid of them as fast as you can. Every second that anything prevents you from effectively engaging is a couple seconds closer than you are to being taken out of this engagement, which means more dead innocent people down the line. Okay? We get bumped, we get pushed, we get back into engagement as fast as we can, nice and effectively. Okay, weapons out, eyes on target. Ready. Up! Strong, strong. Minus! Right! Left! Down! Up! Left! Other left.
Oh my
Get around! Engage. Left! Plus! Minus! Down! Quick, 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 quick! You're about to detonate a bomb belt. One of them is about to detonate a bomb belt. Lines. Very good. You guys step in, just occupy a space between each other. So we got one line. Weapons out. Eyes on target. Up! Right! Freeze. Do not move. Freeze. Everybody freeze. Everybody freeze. Do not change one damn thing. Now, I want us to pause for a sec. I want you to look right in front of you. And I want us to think about real life for a second. You right now transitioned and you are unloading a barrage of rounds to a threat that is unloading with a fully auto AK-47 in your direction. What's in front of you? Partner, another police officer, somebody else your way. In the predicament, the context that I just described, if you fire, is there a likelihood that you're going to actually hit the target, or is there a likelihood that you're going to hit this person in front of you? Okay. So I ask you a question. Relax for a sec. Stay where you are. You can relax for a second. So I'm going to ask you guys a question right now. Why did you guys put yourselves in that predicament? More importantly, why did you remain there? I can't answer for you guys. I'm asking, you're doing, and I'm just asking why. There's too much constriction that goes on with everybody expecting people to fit in the shape that they dictate and to stay there and not to deviate from them. At the end of the day, when you're in the field, you're the commander, you're the operator, you're the warrior, you're the one who's in control of everything. It's you, it's that situation, it's the bad guy, it's your gun, it's your rounds. It's your responsibility to take out that threat, keep people alive. It's you, not protocols, not procedures, not anybody else that can override your ability to effectively accomplish that task. You understand? So, if I'm in gear right now, you guys can stay where you are, but turn around to see what I'm doing. I'm in gear, and you have command of left, and I turn. That's my target right there. What should I do? Okay? I create the environment. I manipulate the environment. I move, I shift things around to make me effective. All right? It's like if I'm walking in knee-high water and a big wave comes in and all of a sudden it's to my neck, but I have to keep on walking. Am I going to sit there and stay floating, or am I going to get myself back to the point where the water is down? You control your environment. The way that training is carried out in North America, it forces police officers to be puppets of the environment. Puppets of the threat. You understand what I'm saying? You guys are in charge. It's you, your gun, your mind, your thinking. Because that threat, these guys here, they operate by one rule only. And that's to get a bullet in everybody before a bullet hits them. And they don't care how they accomplish it. Okay? Always ask yourself in everything that you're doing, if in that moment in time you're being true to the objective and you're effective in that moment in time for what needs to be done. Always keep asking yourself that question. Back to your lines. Yes, sir.
Principles still apply.
100%. Sure. We're not dealing with shooting, we're dealing with fighting. We're going to introduce shooting into this very shortly. We're going to go live with all this to reinforce the fighting, not to do shooting. With a long gun, everything is identical. There's a little bit of a variation with the stance that we use with the long gun because of the type of shooting that we have to do. Everything is 100% identical. We are here to learn how to fight, not to learn how to shoot. I'm not here to teach you guys how to shoot. You guys know how to shoot. We're taking the aspect of shooting and incorporating it into the realities of fighting congruent with reality. Okay? Excellent question. Weapons up. Eyes on your threat. Fighters on. Strong, 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 strong. Engage, fast, hard, strong. Plus. Minus. Left. Good.
Good, 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 good.
Left. Right.
Body weapon.
Left.
Body weapon.
Down.
Go, go, go.
Excellent. Right. Okay, so we have close transitions, plus and minus. We have far transitions, left, right, and now we have to the rear as well. So I'm oriented towards the front, engaging. Something happens behind me that draws my attention. The first thing I have to do is what? I have to look, okay? I have to assess what's going on. So if I'm looking, again, my weapon doesn't stay out here. My weapon is not effective out here, and I never leave it exposed out there. It always comes back in, okay? By leaving out here as well, I actually am blocking my head from being able to see further behind me, okay? So it comes up, and I'm assessing. I decide that, yes, that's more important right now. I have to turn. We turn how? Forward, toes lead. So if I'm going to my left, toes lead. I'm not cutting in a big circle across to take too long. I'm simply shooting my foot straight out in front of me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? So, we have up. We have plus, we have minus. Left, right, and rear. Okay? Rear is behind us, whether you go left, whether you go right. And then down, of course, thread is down. Weapons up. Fight is on. Up! Engage. Left. Right. Minus. Plus. Down. Up. Rear. Pause. Just pause. When you guys look to your rear, did you actually turn and see the target that you eventually turn to engage? I'm just asking you, I'm leaving that question with you. Weapons up, continue to engage. Plus. Minus. Minus. Left. Rear. Down. All right, good. Holster up, gather in. How's everybody feeling so far? A little warmed up? All right. Tiring, yes. Body works, the mind works, everything is working. This is the way that a fight is. Imagine for a sec, again, North America has finally experienced enough of these New Age Islamic jihadist terror threats. We see the difference, we see the dynamic. There's not a person that turns and runs when officers are on scene. They take the fight to them. Dynamic. Imagine now feeling this way because you're in an engagement right now. And it's physically taking its toll. And you just finished right now, taking out that first threat, and all of a sudden a second one pops up. He's fresh. He's good to go. We have expended tons of energy. We still have to go. This is the realities of terror warfare, counter-terror warfare, of micro-combat, of dynamic, real-life fighting. It is a fight. What we're doing here is the equivalent of getting in the ring and going for a boxing match or an MMA match. And if everybody here does that, it's very tiring. Physical, tactical, mental. Those are the three elements that we have to perfect. Those are three elements that are going to carry us through. You can be the best shooter around. That is a tactical application. If you can't carry yourself, navigate physically through a dynamic engagement like this, your shooting will never have a chance to come into play. You can be the most fit individual around, best fighter around, with the best shooting skills around. But if your mindset is off, you don't have the proper mindset, that first round hits, you're going to crumple. It's our responsibility to develop ourselves to the point, because we've chosen this profession, we've chosen to be professionals in a profession, we have to uphold that. And now, more than ever, it's everybody's responsibility because they're already here. We know that. They're already here. This threat is here. Their goal is to kill every single one of us so that they can then grab our families, put a gun to their head and say, are you converting to Islam, yes or no? If yes, you are now our sex slaves and our next jihadists. If no, bullets to the head. That is how simple their mission is. I think that everybody here has seen more than enough, even just on news, to understand that that is what they do, that is what their objective is, that is what they are doing, in all these other places in the world, places that people would have looked at and said, there's no way that country would have turned into a war zone. You understand? I have the majority of my family is in Israel, the other half, huge part, live in France, all throughout France. All these attacks that have happened, I've been on the phone with my relatives while explosions and gunshots are going off. This is what I lived through with my relatives and friends in Israel, and this is what we continue to live through now in France every time this bullshit happens there. We live in a really scary world, in a really scary time. There's not enough of us, the good guys, the real warriors, who are willing to pick up a gun and get into the fight. There is a tremendous amount of the enemy. More worrisome is that there is an even greater amount of the fucking enablers out there. Very ill liberals out there. The liberals who do everything to suppress us and to allow the enemy to get their objective done. That's the reality of the world we live in. For us in Israel, we cannot afford to lose a fight. If we lose, it'll be World War II for us all over again. It'll be the concentration camps again. We will not exist. We won't exist anymore. That's what they want. We now are at the point that here in North America, we cannot begin to lose fights. Not at this stage. We start to lose fights now. It starts to deteriorate our capabilities and fortresses here. You understand? All right. Let's hydrate. Take 2 minutes. Grab a glass of water. All right. Drink and then come back. Gatorade?
I've got water.